So you're thinking about moving to Fort Pierce, Florida, and you want to know the pros and the cons of the area? In this video, I'm going to go over the good and the bad, the pros and the cons, and the reasons why I personally love Fort Pierce and why I think you will too. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to show you where you can find some wild peacocks here in Fort Pierce. So let's get into it right now. If you're new to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living the Treasure Coast of Florida, even here in Fort Pierce, then subscribe down below, tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about market changes here in the Treasure Coast of Florida. My name is Jacob Johnson. I'm with Kai's company, and we get calls every day from people just like you looking to relocate here to the Treasure Coast. Whether you're moving next week, next month, or next year, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'd love to help make your transition here to the Treasure Coast go as smooth as possible. Like I said earlier, today I'm going to be going over the pros and cons of Fort Pierce area. I am at the farmers market in downtown Fort Pierce by the Fort Pierce City Marina. Let me kind of show you what this looks like over here. So pretty much goes on all the time. You have all these stands and it goes way back far if you can see. And it's located here right next to the marina. You can see the marina down through this way, through the trees a little bit. So beautiful area, beautiful part of downtown. I'm going to start with the pro. Fort Pierce is really a beautiful city. They have spent a lot of money revitalizing the downtown here. They spent a lot of money, or, you know, yeah, this nice bridge. I want to see the bridge in the background going out to Hudson Island. You have really a beautiful city and a beautiful location, and that's what makes Fort Pierce so unique. You know, if you want to get to the beaches, 5 or 10 minutes, depending where you live, maybe 15 at the most from the outside of the downtown kind of part of Fort Pierce. And let me pause real quick and do a clarification. So when I talk about Fort Pierce, I'm not talking about all Fort Pierce in general in this video. I'm going to be covering just kind of near the north and south and downtown areas of Fort Pierce. Fort Pierce technically falls all the way up to Lakewood Park up north, which is kind of more towards Vero, and Indian River Estates down south below. That's kind of its own little thing too. And I've already covered the pros and the cons of the Hudson Island part of Fort Pierce. So this is just the downtown part and a little bit around the downtown part of Fort Pierce in this video. So beautiful area and a beautiful location. You know, you're close. You have the I-95, you have the Turnpike, you have the US 1. So if you need to get north or south, you have those quick access roads to get wherever you need to go. You have the A1A going across the Hudson Island over there. You have Indian River Drive going north and south here as well, which is a beautiful drive. If you haven't heard me mention that before, Indian River Drive is my favorite drive here in the Treasure Coast. It's absolutely beautiful, you know. And then you have this beautiful downtown. You have this farmers market that goes on all the time. You have shopping, you have restaurants. You really have a lot going on downtown, and Fort Pierce has really made it special and a really beautiful downtown. Unlike, say, Port St. Lucie, that doesn't really have a downtown. Some of y'all may want to correct me on that. But compared to, say, Stewart or Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie doesn't really have a downtown. Fort Pierce has a wonderful downtown here. And then not only do you have this, you know, beautiful area, great location, great downtown, lots of activities going on like this farmers market right here, but it's affordable. You know, of everywhere on the Treasure Coast, Fort Pierce is the most affordable city to live in the Treasure Coast. You may say, okay, that doesn't make sense. You know, if it's this beautiful area, beautiful location, beautiful access to the beaches and everywhere else, how is it affordable? Well, for con number one, Fort Pierce has been here for quite a bit, you know. And because it's been here for so long, there's a lot of kind of, I'm not going to say run down, but more fixer-upper type style houses. Now, the plus side of that is these houses have more character. They're not going to be your cookie cutter homes that you kind of see some other places. Your house is not going to look like your neighbor's house here in Fort Pierce. You're going to have these beautiful kind of character type homes. And, you know, if you spend the time or energy and fix it up, or if you buy one that's been fixed up, you have a beautiful looking home in a beautiful area for a really good price, which really isn't bad. And then, and you're going to kind of seem like I'm contradicting myself here, but one of the cons I've seen from the area, so when I first moved out to this area, my job was business development rep. So I worked for a hospital, and I went out meeting with other hospitals and doctors' offices, and was trying to drum up business for the hospital I was working at. Trying to get referrals. Oh, if this patient has these, send them over here to us. We'd love to take care of them for you. And when I would meet with offices down here in Fort Pierce, um, every time around lunchtime, I'd say, hey, I like trying new restaurants. Where do you think I should try for lunch today? And they all had the same response. They said, oh, there's nowhere to eat here in Fort Pierce. Now you may say, wait, you just said there's a lot of restaurants here in downtown. And there are a lot of restaurants here in downtown, but they're kind of more of a sit down and eat kind of fun environment type thing. And that's kind of all where the restaurants are is here. There's a couple restaurants scattered throughout, but for the most part, there's nowhere kind of quicker and good to eat in Fort Pierce. And let me know down in the comments below if you think I'm wrong on that. Just the feedback that I've gotten, that I've seen come around Fort Pierce, that there's not a huge variety of restaurants and not a lot of restaurants in the area. And I did talk about a lot of the homes here are fixer-upper type homes, which can be a negative, positive for some of y'all, negative for a lot of y'all. One thing I want to mention more about this too is if you're buying a house that has been fixed up, you want to check out and see, you really want to have a good inspector, let me say. I don't know if y'all have heard the expression lipstick on a pig, but when my wife and I were looking for a home out in this area, we saw these beautiful homes, or wow, this looks wonderful in the pictures, and we come here and look at it. And thankfully, I know enough to say, okay, they kind of cosmetically fixed what's going on here, but structurally, they didn't do anything. You got to check out for the electrical panels. Some insurance companies won't insure various electrical panels. There's a lot of issues and underlying issues that they didn't fix. So a lot of these houses are what I call lipstick on a pig. You have an investor who comes up, they buy a house for cheap, they put some money into it, and they want to make the most money possible selling it real quick. And they don't really fix some of the underlying issues. And you really want to watch out for that buying some homes here in Fort Pierce. You kind of see it all over the Treasure Coast, but specifically because it is more affordable in this area, investors are more likely to do these cheap flips here in this area than they are in some of the other areas. And then my last con for the area, because we are still in St. Lucie County, you are going to have higher property taxes here in Fort Pierce. So St. Lucie County, it's going to be covering Port St. Lucie and Fort Pierce is kind of the area that covers, and all around a little bit. And they are in the top 10 counties with the highest property taxes for the state of Florida. If you're coming from somewhere like New York or California that has really high property taxes, it might not be that bad to you. You might say, oh, these are better than where I'm living. That's great for you. But for the rest of us, it's kind of a sticker shock when you see those property taxes on a yearly basis. You're like, how many thousand am I paying for this little place? That just is what it is. There's a price for paradise. And look at this beautiful, show you a little bit over here. Look at this beautiful paradise. You know, if you can see that tall building way in the back, that's Hutchins Island, that's where the beaches are down there. Here's the Indian River. You have the marina, beautiful fishing, except there's no fishing here, and the fish know it. I have to show y'all some pictures and videos. There are thousands of fish here in these waters, and they're huge and make me really want fish tacos. You can't fish here, though. You have to get out a little bit from the marina before you can fish. If there's any other pros and cons of the area that y'all think I missed, granted, this is just a short list, not an extensive list, please let me know down in the comments so others can see your comment as well and help them make their decision here about Fort Pierce. Let me know, hey, this is really pro of the area, or this is a really con of the area. Let me know that. But for my short list, there it is. And if there's anything else you want to know more about, or if there's another city or area or neighborhood specifically you want to know about, please let me know, and I'll make sure to get that for you. All right, now I promised you earlier to find some wild peacocks. So let's go find some wild peacocks, and I will show you. It's kind of funny there's wild peacocks here, but you know, there's wild peacocks, so let's go find them. All right, so here is a park. It's by Anytime Fitness in Fort Pierce. There's a big male peacock right here on this side of the fence. I can come over here so you can just stay where he's at and not bother him. If you can see across, let's go this tree. You see all the peacocks over there walking around. And come over and show you this beautiful male peacock right there, hiding out. So basically, in the 70s, there's a travel agency. The owner loved peacocks. And so he had this little walled off area, and he bought a few peacocks to roam the yard because he loved peacocks. And over the years, the peacock herd has grown. And now this downtown, or this part of downtown Fort Pierce, is called the Fort Pierce Peacock Arts District. And I don't know if you can hear, probably not, but you can hear peacocks calling off all over down here. Not only in this little park here, they cross the streets. Um, so they cross the streets. They're pretty slow walking, so I've never had to hurry up and slam on my brakes. You can see them coming they're pretty noticeable birds. So you see them coming, you have time to stop and don't have to worry about getting rear-ended. But that's why there's peacocks in Fort Pierce now. They're just wild and they're all over, and they do their little cool call, the or whatever it is. But that's peacocks in Fort Pierce. If y'all have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I hope y'all heard that.